devotee, it's the same. Prabhupada could tell you, he feels like that, he thinks like that, and you think like that, and you want this. The worst thing is Prabhupada could look in your heart. Shocking. Even you couldn't look in your heart. Because we always think we look in the heart, but actually we look in our mind. But a spiritual master can look in your heart. And he will tell you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Therefore, it's a bold thing to be really confronted with a spiritual master like Prabhupada, because you don't get what you want, you get what you need. And if you can sustain that faith, despite hearing sometimes very challenging things, then the progress, anytime you sustain, you can actually make such a test, you go through such a test, then that's called progress. Like Prabhupada told one devotee who was his personal servant, known in a whole movement, somebody who is ready to die for Prabhupada any minute. He told him in the face, you just came here to take my money. You know what that feels? And the devotee said, yes, Prabhupada, I fully agree. I'm a completely materialistic person. I just came here to take your money. And Prabhupada said, very good. Then bring me some lunch. It was just a test. Like, our previous GBC, he was also his servant. Oh, he told me stories. My God, Prabhupada did to him. It was specially known that Prabhupada is a special lessons for him. The servant, sitting on his bed in Mayapur. Prabhupada was sitting there chanting, and he came, a servant in the morning, cleaning up the room. Prabhupada said, he came with a bucket, to clean up the floor. Prabhupada was teaching us even how to clean the floors, because that's the Indian way. No vacuum cleaner really. Prabhupada said, first you scoop dust, and then you come with a bucket with water and with cloth and you wash. It's like the standard. Marble floor is very easy like this. So anyway, Prabhupada, he came with his bucket, started to clean. Prabhupada said, oh, by the way, can you close the window? Oh yes, Prabhupada. He was heading for the window. Before he could reach the window, Prabhupada said, can you take this Bhagavatam and put it on the shelf there? Oh yes, Prabhupada. Before he could reach the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada told him, but you should clean the floor. Oh yes, Prabhupada. He was going for the broomstick. Prabhupada said, and can you close the door also? Oh yes, Prabhupada. Before he could reach the door, he said, but I told you to close the window. Oh yes, Prabhupada. But why is the Bhagavatam still lying here? Oh yes, Prabhupada. And the door is still dirty. Yes, Prabhupada, and he was accelerating, He got him like on, let's say, 8, 9 items, which he couldn't even do because he told him to do something, And the result of the situation, he's standing there with a broomstick and, and completely in the middle of the room with the window half closed. And he just flipped out. He was going, Prabhupada! And he fell down, picked dandavats in front of the bed. Prabhupada got down from the bed, went around and he said, you are completely useless. And he walked out of the bed. This is something for the false ego, Nowadays, many disciples, the spiritual master acting like this, they will call the lawyer. Court case, emotional abuse. If you're a good psychiatrist, you can get help. Really, you can go in jail for this. This one spiritual master lately, not a long time ago, told me it's very dangerous to be guru nowadays. In America especially. But that you do only with a very, very serious disciple. Prabhupada, knew, how he's dealing with it. If you sustain such a training, you can go back to God. But it's not like we are asking for it. It was just a particular instance. I just repeat what my God brother told me. But He said publicly in a lecture later on, as he had his own disciples, he told to his disciples, if I would treat you like Prabhupada treated me, you will all leave instantly. But if you can sustain such a training, wow. Because it comes down to one simple point, that, that absence of false ego. That's all. And you can prove to the spiritual master, I'm surrendering anyway. It doesn't matter what you tell me. It doesn't matter what you do with me. So Lord Chaitanya says, you can embrace me or you can crush me. I'm anyway your servant. That's the guideline for a disciple. Lord Chaitanya said it in connection to Krishna. Playing the role of an ideal servant. That's a real servant. You can embrace me, you can crush me, I'm serving anyway. And that was the mood Prabhupada installed into us. Very difficult sometimes to live up to it, what to speak of projecting it to others. People get upset, No, I will conduct Krishna consciousness under my terms. It's going to be my way, or nothing. When you approach Krishna like that, Krishna may, because he's very merciful, so he may say, okay. Like it was known in Gaudiya Math that there was a very rich man in India who thought he will buy Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, and make a big movement with him. With him, of course, being very prominent. So he always approached Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj in a very puffed up mood. Offered a big donation, yes. You will be my guru. It is known that all the sannyasis, as Prabhupada called it, the intimate disciples, they were very upset with that man, really upset by seeing him. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj tolerated. Just to engage the man in devotional service, he was like, oh yes, what we will do without you. There was another instance in India, I heard Prabhupada took another turn. He turned it around. Some very rich man approaching Prabhupada in India, suggesting that he could give a big donation, why not? Prabhupada said, we don't need any money. Krishna is supplying, we don't need any money. He completely ignored the man. He was shocked, because any other guru he approached before, he could buy for anything. That's usually India. You give a good donation, you will be a pure devotee in no time. Declared to be a pure devotee. But Prabhupada totally ignored the man. He was shocked. He came back and he again, tried again. Prabhupada again totally ignored him. And devotees were very uneasy. He said, such a rich man, he wants to contribute, and Prabhupada is mistreating him like this. Because Prabhupada also saw there was some seriousness in that man. So he tested him so heavily until the man completely gave up his financial bribery approach and was basically just ready to ask questions about spiritual life. Then Prabhupada said, yes. And at the end, anyway, the man said, and can I give a donation too? Like very humbly. Prabhupada said, yes, why not? But that's only after the man proved that he's not intending to buy Prabhupada. That was sometimes very mysterious to preach with Prabhupada, what kind of approach he took, you never knew. That was his choice, and that because he was empowered, that was so fascinating to be close to Prabhupada, because you never really knew how is he going to do it. Sometimes he was heavy, and sometimes he was not, and sometimes he was just bang! Like in the early days already, the devotees invited the most famous rock band on the block, which was known for a very specially obscene lyrics, and they were also a little bit interested in the Swami, so they just said, come on, you have to see the Swami, and they were saying, when these guys get fired up in Krishna consciousness, they will bring so many devotees. Prabhupada gave the whole evening, that Bhagavad Gita class was just about 4 regulative principles. These gentlemen were so fried, they never came back again. And he was like, what? So you never knew what to turn Prabhupada, what approach will choose. Well, we cannot imitate Prabhupada, we have to only learn. In our case, better we are careful. You have to be empowered. Ultimately, you see things by the result. Huh?
I may say sometimes we think like that this would be maybe good for preaching, but if we're not really sure, then it's better not to take the risk. Maybe keep it simple and safe.
Right. Better to stay safe. We saw, especially, any older devotee can tell you, we saw many experiments in ISKCON. And we saw many experiments going wrong. Taking lots of people with it. You can, because people don't know much about spiritual life. So you can actually fool people very easily. And you can take them on a wrong track. So better you stay close to Prabhupada and, that's why I told you. Better a short lecture with Prabhupada and that's it, as a long lecture and then you drill into your brain and start to produce who knows what. You don't have to even produce something wrong, you just take things out of context and put them wrongly together. That's already wrong. I can quote our previous GBC here, who was put in Vrindavan, Prabhupada suddenly in Vrindavan in the morning, it was a lecture, time. Prabhupada came, sat on the Vyasasana, and suddenly Prabhupada said, you give a lecture. As my Godbrother said, the most scary experience of my life. To lecture in front of Prabhupada. It was like, and you can hear it when you hear Prabhupada's recording lectures. There is few recorded lectures where actually a devotee starts to give a lecture. And he goes, as Krishna says, the word Swayam is very important. Prabhupada goes into the mic, and completely takes over the lecture. Because he knows this man is confused. Prabhupada felt the need. Okay, let's state things as they are. Doesn't mean even then necessarily devotee made a mistake, but Prabhupada felt like, this should be said like this. But in this case, my Godbrother, he gave the whole lecture with Prabhupada sitting there and simply listening. He said, I was so scared. I even repeated the words Prabhupada said and the quotes and everything what I knew. My brain was, glowing to find anything, just not one word outside of Prabhupada, what he said. There's the quotes and everything, even how he said it. And I was just, and when I was finished, I just couldn't even lift up my eyes looking at Prabhupada. And I lift up my eyes and Prabhupada had a big smile. Nice. Because I didn't change one thing. Such an approach would be probably today called fanatical, I don't know what, by some. But better to stay safe. And better to be a little bit fanatical, to be more like, because sometimes a very kind of seemingly harmless deviation has a quite devastating result. I could probably, if I try to struggle now to pull out of my brain some memories on this, but there's no use to discuss deviations. It's just, let's stay on the principle. That sometimes, Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is like walking on a razor blade. There's not much space to move, And we have to be also ready if somebody comes in and say, hey, this is not Prabhupada. Then we have to immediately take the approach, okay, why not? And he may defeat you. So then it's okay. It's nice. A Brahminical person will be inspired to be defeated. Oh, that's nice. Even Prabhupada, I don't know, I'm still speculating if he did it on purpose or if he really forgot a shloka. I don't know. Because you can hear in a lecture from Prabhupada goes, as Krishna says, and then one devotee comes with a shloka, quoting, helping Prabhupada to remember. And Prabhupada goes, thank you. Like, you can see immediately Prabhupada's attitude. It's important that the issue is right, not who said it. He was so humble. That's called real humility. Real humility means that you are concerned that things are right, not who is doing it right or who is, things is to be right. Prabhupada went even so far, he said, you don't have to trust me, but you have to trust the Vedas. But everybody knows Prabhupada is the walking Vedas. So, this is lessons to be learned. So Bahari Saur is giving the seminar, he travels around. Prabhupada walking Bhagavata. There's a Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a book, and there's a walking Bhagavatam. So our discussion, we can have a discussion, we can have even a different opinions, but it should be on a basis of Prabhupada's, on the Shastra, on Prabhupada's words. Not, I heard that Mr. Millais, and it's the reason you find me just laughing about leaflets, depicting Marilyn Monroe and this and that and whatever, where is this coming from? Why should we even be confronted with images like this? Why not just, you want to present something revolutionary? Well, I can show even photos if you want graphical material. Prabhupada looking very revolutionary.
I would like to see that.
Huh?
I would like to see
There's
that.
a whole book published for that purpose. Preaching strongly on behalf of Prabhupada. But I personally, I don't know if I would put that picture in, but it's showing Prabhupada raising the stick in the hand. It's a little bit far, but it's not Photoshop, it's real. It says Prabhupada really is standing with a stick in a hand, probably chasing some dog away. I don't know why. But I don't have to even have a Prabhupada with a stick. There's photos. I remember the first photo I saw of Prabhupada. It was scary. I was scared. It was black and white. Prabhupada, short German publication, Prabhupada speaking on the Vedas. And there was a photo with the light going below, Prabhupada sitting on a window and all these veins. This was like illuminated from black and white photo. And Prabhupada was like, really? I saw that photo, I was going, it was immediately as an artist, I was thinking, fun is over. With this, fun is over. So I put the book in there. But I didn't throw it away. The next day I looked again, I was so scared of that photo. But I was so attracted too because it looked to me like it was so real. This was not a joke. Usually you see on those days in the transcendental books, you see this picture of the Guruji's, face like a balloon and going transcendental bliss. It's kind of giggle. Guru Maharaji, and there's a whole thing like that, Prabhupada was right. So, anyway. Jai!
Jai! Haribol!
Jai! Something else? Oh yeah, so very late. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai!
Jai!